Today we will discuss about the equivalence classes. Now I will recall certain definitions which you already know. Let X be a set and R be an equivalence relation, R be an equivalence relation on X, defined on X. Okay, by equivalence relation we mean R is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. So in this case you should have a set under equivalence relation defined on the set. Okay, we define equivalence class of an element A in X denoted by this is of A within square brackets or R of A, both are same, as it is defined as equivalence class of A is equal to set of all elements X in X such that A is related to X, such A is related to X. This is called as the equivalence class of the element A. Okay. Now you should also know what is meant by a partition of a set. Partition of a set. Let X be a set. The sets A1, A2, so on AN is a partition of X, partition of set X if number 1, each AI's are non-empty. Okay, it has to be non-empty. Number 2, X is equal to union of AI, I is equal to 1 to n. When I take the union of all these sets A1, A2, A3, so on AN, I should have the set X. Third one is an important property. AI intersection AJ is empty for I not equal to J. So they are pairwise disjoint. Okay, so this will be called as a partition. Today what we will be doing is that I'll write it here as a note. Okay, equivalence class forms a partition of the set X on which a relation R is defined. R is defined. Okay. So in this case, if I take this as set X, now I will have certain partitions. This will be equivalence class of A1, equivalence class of A2, so on equivalence class of AN. Okay, so these partitions you can see that intersection is empty and union of this set would be your entire set X. Okay, so this is the result that we are to prove today. Now I will work out with certain properties of equivalence classes and then prove the required result. Property 1, and of course before this property you assume that let X be a set and R is an equivalence relation defined on equivalence relation defined on X. Okay, let A comma B comma C belongs to X. A comma B comma C belongs to X. Okay, so property number 1, okay, equivalence class of A is non-empty. So this is the first property that we have to prove. If I take any equivalence class, that has to be non-empty. Okay, given that, what is the proof? Given that R is an equivalence relation. R is an equivalence relation. Okay, because it is an equivalence relation, R is reflexive. Okay, it has to be reflexive. That is, A is related to A for every A in X. Therefore, A belongs to equivalence class of A, and from this you can see that equivalence class of A is non-empty. So the first property that is being proved here is that equivalence class of A is non-empty, or equivalence class is to be non-empty. Now the second property is, if B belongs to equivalence class of A, then equivalence class of A is equal to equivalence class of B. So how to prove this? Okay, B belongs to equivalence class of A. This is given. Okay, so you get B is related to A. B is related to A. See here, what we have to do is, I have to prove equivalence class of A is equal to equivalence class of B. This equivalence class is basically a set. So what you have to prove is, you have to prove that equivalence class of A is contained in equivalence class of B, as we prove equality of two sets. Equivalence class of A is contained in equivalence class of B, and equivalence class of B is contained in equivalence class of A. When I prove these two, okay, I get equivalence class of A is equal to equivalence class of B. So my first claim is that equivalence class of A is contained in equivalence class of B. So now what I do is, let some X be an element of equivalence class of A. So I have to show that this X is in equivalence class of B. So first I take an element element X in equivalence class of A, and show that this is also an element of equivalence class of B. So now what is the meaning of this? X belongs to equivalence class of A implies X is related to A. Okay, already, okay, B is related to A. Okay, already B is related to A, and R is an equivalence relation. R is an equivalence relation. Because R is an equivalence relation, symmetric property is true. So what do you get? You get A is related to B. This will be true. So I get A is related to B. So now I have X is related to A, and X and A is related to B. This implies X is related to B by transitive property. So when x is related to B, I can conclude that x should be in equivalence class of B. So now I have started with an element in equivalence class of A, and I am able to prove that x is an element of equivalence class of B, and from this I get equivalence class of A is contained in equivalence class of B. So now I call this as equation A. Now I have to prove the other way. What will be my second claim? The second claim would be equivalence class of B is contained in equivalence class of A. Okay. Now what I do is I take y in equivalence class of B. So what is the meaning of this? Y is related to B. Okay. Already, what is given here? Already given. Okay. What is that you have got? You have got B is in A, which means B is related to A. So when I combine these two, y related to B, B related to A, this implies y is related to A by transitive property, because R is an equivalence relation. So by transitive property, you have y is related to A, which means that y belongs to equivalence class of A. So now what you have done, you have started with equivalence y in equivalence class of B, and you are able to prove that the same element y is in equivalence class of A. So you could conclude that equivalence class of B is contained in equivalence class of A. What I call it as equation B. So when I combine these two equations, A and B, we get equivalence class of A is equal to equivalence class of B. Okay. So if B is an element of equivalence class of A, then equivalence class of A is equal to equivalence class of B. This was property 2. Now I will move to property 3. Okay. Any two equivalence classes are equal or disjoint. Okay. Now what is the equivalent? That is, equivalence class of A will be equivalence class of B. If I take any two equivalence classes, they have to be equal, or equivalence class of A intersection equivalence class of B should be empty. So this will be the third property. So equivalence class of A are either equal or disjoint. So when I rewrite it in symbolic notation, I will have equivalence class of A is equal to equivalence class of B, or equivalence class of A intersection equivalence class of B is empty. Now how do we prove this? Proof for this: if equivalence class of A is equal to equivalence class of B, then I don't have anything to prove. Then there is nothing to prove. So if they are equal, then there is nothing to be proved. So I assume equivalence class of A is not equal to equivalence class of B. Okay, so now what I have to do, if they are not equal, then I have to show that the intersection of two classes should be empty. Now what I do is, I assume let C belongs to equivalence class of A intersection equivalence class of B. So what does this mean? I have C is in equivalence class of A and C belongs to equivalence class of B. Okay, so now you think a little bit. If C is in A and C is in B, then what do you get? Yes, what you said is right. Equivalence class of C should be equivalence class of A, and equivalence class of C should be equivalence class of B. This you obtain by the just property 2 which we have proved here. If C belongs to equivalence class of A, then equivalence class of C is equal to equivalence class of A, and if C belongs to equivalence class of B, then equivalence class of C is equal to equivalence class of B. So I get equivalence class of A is equal to equivalence class of C is equal to equivalence class of B, and this proves that equivalence class of A is equal to equivalence class of B. So if they are equal, then you need not prove anything. If they are not equal, then you can show that they are equal, equivalence classes are equal. So these three properties are important. These three properties are important for us, okay, for us, so that you can prove the theorem here. Okay, so this will be the main theorem, and if you are asked to prove this theorem, you have to prove these three properties and then get the required proof. Okay, so in this case, what is the statement? Every equivalence relation R, every equivalence relation capital R on a non-empty set, on a non-empty set capital X, determines a unique partition, determines a unique partition on X whose blocks, okay, are equivalence classes of relation R, equivalence classes of relation R. Okay, so in this case, what is the proof technique? Because I have proved the major part here, okay, and you need not be worried. Okay, this will be a block. A subset in the partition will be called as a block. Okay, so now how do you prove this? Okay, proof here. Let R be an equivalence relation. Let R be an equivalence relation defined on a non-empty set X, defined on non-empty set capital X. Okay, let capital P be the collection of all equivalence classes of R. That will be P will be set of all elements A such that A belongs to X. A belongs to X. Okay, so by the three properties proved earlier, okay, every element, okay, number one, every element in P is non-empty. Okay, every equivalence class is non-empty, which will be property 1. Property 1. Okay, and property 2. Okay, if equivalence class of A is not equal to equivalence class of B, then equivalence class of A intersection equivalence class of B is empty. This one was property 3. Okay, property 2 was used to prove the third property. Okay, and here the main thing here is this: if X belongs to X, then we have X belonging to some equivalence class of X, and so your partition P would be, your set X would be equivalence class of X, where X belongs to capital X. Okay, so in this case, because of the properties that we have proved, we were able to write the elements of P. Okay, and the partition P obtained, whose elements are blocks is a unique, okay, is an unique as the equivalence classes are unique. Equivalence classes are unique. Okay, so in this case, the set of all equivalence classes forms a partition of the given set. In fact, you can write like this: classes of relation R. Relation R forms a partition of the given set. Okay, so this is the main theorem with regards to the equivalence classes. Now I will just give you an example, okay, of equivalence class, how it forms a partition. Now what I do is I take X to be the set of all elements 1 to 50. I define R as set of all elements A comma B such that A minus B is divisible by 6. Okay, it is divisible by 6. Okay, you can check that we have already proved the general case, so this will be a particular case. R is an equivalence relation. R will be an equivalence relation. So now what I have to do is I have to find the equivalence classes. Okay, so now what I do is I find the equivalence class of 1, which will be 1, 7, 13, 19, 25, 31, 37, 43, and then 49. Equivalence class of 2 would be, that is 2, 8, 14, 20, 26, 32, 38, 44, 50. Okay, so now you can see that 49 minus 1 is 48, divisible by 6. Similarly, every element is divisible by 6 when I subtract it with 1. So this will be the equivalence class, elements in the equivalence class of 1. Similarly, here this will be an elements in the equivalence class of 2. Now 3, equivalence class of 3 will have 3, 9, 15, 21, 27, 33, 39, 45. So I will not have 51, so I will have 45. And similarly, equivalence class of 4 would be 4, 10, 16, 22, 28, 34, 40, 46. Equivalence class of 5 would be 5, 11, 17, 23, 29, okay, 35, 41, 47. Okay, and last equivalence class of 6 would be 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, and then 48. You can see that these 6 equivalence classes forms a partition. That is, if you take any element in X, it will be in exactly one equivalence class, and therefore when you take the union of all these 6 subsets, namely the equivalence classes, you get the required set capital X. So this is an example how the equivalence class forms a partition of the given set with an equivalence relation. So you can have lots and lots of examples here. You can have lots and lots of examples, and this is one such example. Now I will solve a problem which will be in the opposite direction of what was given in the example. Given a set and a relation, we were asked to find the equivalence classes. Now what I will do is, I will take a set along with the partition of the set. You have to find the equivalence relation with respect to the partition that has been given to us. So now what I do is, I take, let X is equal to, or A is equal to 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. Let P be the partition. P is equal to, it will be the set of all elements, which will be 1. Okay. The next one would be 2, 4. Third one would be 3. Okay. This is the partition of X. Okay. Now what we have to do is find the equivalence relation determined by P. Equivalence relation R determined by P. Okay. So in this case, what are all the blocks here? Solution. Blocks are, okay, your subset 1, subset 2, 4 and subset 3. Okay. So now when I have this 1, this means that 1 is related to 1, which I can write it as 1, 1. And when I have 2 and 4, this means that 2 is related to 4, 2 is related to 2, 4 is related to 4, 4 is related to 2. which means that 2 comma 4, in fact I will write like this, belongs to R. Here I have 2 comma 4. Okay, this set 2 comma 4, 2 comma 2, 4 comma 4, 4 comma 2, all these belongs to your relation R. Okay, so these 2 should be. Now similarly 3, what is that? This is 3 is related to 3, which means that 3 comma 3 belongs to R. So I group all the elements, that will be the equivalence relation. 1 comma 1, 2 comma 4, 2 comma 2, 4 comma 4, 4 comma 2 and 3 comma 3. So this will be the equivalence relation. Okay, equivalence relation determined by the partition, P. So if the equivalence classes are known, you can find the relation. If the relation is known, you can determine the partition. So this will be the problem number 1. Now if the relation is given in terms of the graphs, how do you determine the unique partition and the equivalence class? Okay, so that has to be given here. Find the unique partition determined by the equivalence relation, whose directed graph is given. Okay, now you have like this 1, 2, 4. This is 1, 2, 4. Okay, now you have like this, both sides. 2 is related to itself, 4 is related to itself, 1 is related to itself, 1 is related to 2, 2 is also related to 1. Similarly 1 is related to 4, 4 is related to 1. Okay, and similarly I have 2 elements here, 5 and then 6. 5 is related to 6, 6 is related to 5. You will have like this, sorry, not 5, this is 3. Okay, and then you have a separate element 5 which is related to 5. So this will be the graph. Now what you have to do is, you have to find the unique partition. So for that, x is given like this. What is x? X is the set of all elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now what is your partition P? So the elements in one of the partitions, 1, 2, 4, and 3, 6 will be the second block. The last block would be 5. Okay, you can also see the relations here. Elements are 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 4, 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 4. Similarly here 3, 3, 3, 6, 6, 3, 6, 6. The last element would be 5, 5. So here all these three can be interpreted from the other. Suppose if I take x, the set x along with the relation, I can find the partition. Suppose if you are given with the partition, you can find the equivalence relation. From the relation you can decipher the graph or construct the graph. From the graph you can get the relation. All these things are linked, so you can move from one to the other. That is, from the algebraic notation you can move to the graph structure, what you call it as graph theory, which you will be studying later. Or from graphs you can again come back to the algebraic structures which you have written in terms of the relations. All these things are possible. So with this we complete the topic relation. So what had been done in this topic? Okay, let me summarize it. If you look at this relation, we first discussed properties of relations. Properties of relations. What are they? I'll just state some: reflexive, symmetric, some of the properties. Then we classified this into two. One will be called as the equivalence relation. Okay, what is this equivalence relation? If it is reflexive, symmetric and transitive, these three are called as the, when these three properties are satisfied by a relation, then you call it as an equivalence relation. The next category is partial order relation. What is this partial order relation? It has to be reflexive, and then it has to be anti-symmetric, and the last one would be transitive. Okay, I have changed the second property. Instead of symmetric, you have anti-symmetric property. By this change, what is the very big difference you get? We have just proved that equivalence relation partitions the given set. Okay, whereas the partial order relation arranges the elements of the set in an descending order or ascending order, as the case may be, in a descending order. Okay, in a descending order. So this will be an important one, this partial order relation, which we will explain or work out with problems later. So the first thing, we defined what was a relation, then we classified the relations according to the properties. Now we have given the usage of these properties, and in order to prove that an equivalence relation partitions the given set, we have defined what is an equivalence classes. Okay, this will be 1, this will be 2, this part will be 3. The fourth part here is we have defined what is an equivalence classes and how it helps in partitioning the given set, and how it helps in partitioning the given set. Okay, and before this equivalence classes, okay, I have left out an important one. Okay, we had defined what is meant by a closure of a relation, okay, closure of a relation, and in that we discussed about the reflexive closure, symmetric closure, and the last one, transitive closure. We discussed these three types of closures, and in determining the transitive closure we had discussed an algorithm called as an Warshall's algorithm, which helps you to find the transitive closure of a given relation. And then after that we proved what is an equivalence, we defined what is an equivalence class, and we have also proved how these equivalence classes form a partition of the given set. So these are the main things that we have covered in the relation, and in the next class we will be discussing an improved version of a relation or a refined form of a relation called functions. So for the next few days we will be discussing important concepts called as functions. Thank you.